Tonight, we will slowly explore the story of the universe, from the very first moment of existence to the stars that shine above us tonight. So relax, take a slow breath, and let your mind drift into the cosmos. In the quiet before everything, there is no light, no stars, no galaxies, no time passing, and no space to pass through. Just a state beyond silence. We often imagine the universe beginning with a loud explosion, a dramatic moment where everything suddenly bursts into existence. But the beginning of the universe was not really an explosion. It was more like a gentle unfolding, a slow opening, a quiet awakening of reality itself. About 13.8 billion years ago, all the energy, matter, space, and time that would ever exist was compressed into a state smaller than an atom, not floating anywhere, because there was no where yet, not happening at any moment, because time had not begun. This state is often called a singularity, a point where the known laws of physics become uncertain, a place where our understanding fades into mystery. And then, something changed. Space itself began to expand, not into something, but from itself. Imagine the surface of a balloon slowly inflating, every point moving away from every other point. But instead of a balloon in a room, this balloon was the entire universe. In the very first fraction of a second, the universe expanded incredibly fast. A moment called cosmic inflation. In less than a blink, space grew from microscopic scales to something unimaginably vast. Energy filled the newborn universe. It was hot, dense, brighter than anything we could ever imagine. At this stage, there were no atoms, no stars, no planets, only a swirling ocean of pure energy and fundamental particles, tiny building blocks, appearing and disappearing in a dance of physics. Quarks, electrons, neutrinos. The universe was like a glowing cosmic soup, a storm of creation. As the universe continued expanding, it slowly began to cool. And with cooling came structure. Within the first seconds, quarks began joining together, forming protons and neutrons, the seeds of future atoms. Minutes passed, and in those first few minutes, something remarkable happened. The first atomic nuclei formed: hydrogen, helium, tiny ingredients of a future cosmos. But the universe was still too hot for full atoms to exist. Electrons could not yet settle into place, so the universe remained a glowing fog of charged particles. Light itself could not travel freely. Photons scattered constantly. The universe was bright, but strangely opaque, like trying to see through thick cosmic mist. For hundreds of thousands of years, this fog filled everything. Expansion continued. Cooling continued. And eventually, after about 380,000 years, the temperature dropped enough for electrons to finally join atomic nuclei. At that moment, the first true atoms were born. Hydrogen atoms, helium atoms. And suddenly, light was free. Photons could travel across space without constant collisions. The universe became transparent. The ancient light from that moment still exists today, traveling quietly through space. We call it the cosmic microwave background, a faint whisper from the earliest visible moment of the universe. If you could tune a radio sensitive enough, you could hear the echo of creation. But the universe was still dark. There were no stars yet, no galaxies, just enormous clouds of hydrogen and helium drifting through expanding space. Gravity slowly began its patient work. Tiny variations in density, almost impossibly small, became the seeds of cosmic structure. Where matter was slightly denser, gravity pulled more matter inward, Over millions of years, those clouds slowly collapsed, gathering, thickening, heating, and eventually, in the hearts of those collapsing clouds, pressure and temperature rose high enough for something extraordinary to happen. Nuclear fusion ignited. The first stars were born. These were not gentle stars like our sun. They were enormous, brilliant, short-lived giants made almost entirely of hydrogen. Inside their cores, atoms were fused into heavier elements: carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, iron. The elements that would one day form planets, oceans, mountains, and living beings. When these massive stars died, they exploded as supernovae, cosmic fireworks, scattering newly created elements across the universe, seeding space with the raw materials of future worlds. Generation after generation of stars formed and died, each one enriching the universe a little more, slowly. Galaxies began to emerge. Vast islands of stars, spiraling arms, glowing clusters, dark rivers of dust and gas. Billions, sometimes trillions, of stars moving together through space. Our own galaxy, the Milky Way, formed during this long cosmic evolution, a graceful spiral of hundreds of billions of stars. Somewhere within one of its quiet outer arms, about 4.6 billion years ago, a cloud of gas and dust began to collapse. Gravity once again shaping matter. At the center, a new star ignited, our sun. Around it, a swirling disk of debris formed. Tiny grains of dust collided, sticking together, growing into rocks, rocks into planetesimals, planetesimals into planets. One of those planets was Earth. At first, Earth was violent. Molten rock, constant impacts from asteroids, volcanoes covering the young surface. But over time, the planet cooled. Oceans formed, atmosphere stabilized, and in those ancient oceans, something quietly extraordinary happened. Simple molecules began forming more complex structures. Chemistry slowly turned toward biology. Eventually, life appeared. Tiny single-celled organisms, barely visible. Yet these microscopic pioneers would change the planet forever. Over billions of years, life evolved, adapted, diversified. Plants, animals, creatures of the sea, creatures of the land, and eventually, a species capable of asking questions about the universe itself. Humans. We look up at the night sky and see stars. But what we are really seeing is history. Light traveling across millions or billions of years. Every star you see is part of a story that began long before Earth existed. And even more remarkable, the atoms inside your body were forged inside ancient stars. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the carbon in every living cell, all created in stellar furnaces, scattered through space by supernova explosions, and eventually gathered into the planet you now stand on. In a very real sense, you are made of stardust, matter that once lived inside distant suns, matter that traveled across cosmic time to become you. The universe is still expanding today. Galaxies slowly drifting farther apart, space itself stretching silently. And somewhere, new stars are still forming, new planets are still emerging, new possibilities are still unfolding. The story of the universe is not finished. It is still being written, right now, in this quiet moment, as you breathe, as the Earth spins gently through space, as our galaxy moves slowly through the cosmic ocean. The same universe that began in silence continues to grow. And somewhere in its vastness, conscious beings lie beneath the stars, wondering where everything came from, wondering how existence began, and perhaps feeling something quietly beautiful about being a small part of such an ancient, expanding, and mysterious cosmos. So as you close your eyes tonight, imagine the universe drifting slowly around you, galaxies turning in silence, stars glowing softly in distant darkness. And remember, the same cosmic story that began billions of years ago is still unfolding in every atom of you.